You are watching
Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is Jon Carissimo and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We are here every single Wednesday, 12 noon typically, almost always. Every now and then we do a special time. But welcome into everyone joining in today live. Everyone that is here today to increase your income. Happy New Year. We got the fireworks going because it's time to take the new year and make a new you. And maybe that new you, so let's talk about that. That's a big thing that a lot of people are trying to redefine themselves for 2023, to make 2023 the best year ever. And you might have all kinds of goals or ideas. Maybe they're not even broken down into goals yet. Maybe they're just ideas. Maybe they're concepts. They're things that you want. Maybe, you know, let's talk about money. That's usually the first thing. Everybody, that's a common denominator. We all want money to some degree. But now, what is it that we're doing with that money that makes us want the money? So that's part of understanding what that future is that you want to build for yourself, which at this point, hopefully you've already got some goals established of things it is maybe you're wanting to accomplish, or maybe you're looking at establishing goals for this year and you've maybe been discouraged. And you're discouraged because you look at what your goals are and you realistically look at what you're doing and what those goals are, and you're struggling to make the connection. So we've got a lot of information for you to take in today to share about increasing your income in 2023. That's what we're talking about here. And let me know if you're tuning in on the live chat. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. Do you already have a real estate license? Or if not, what do you do currently for work if you're not in real estate? So if we're talking about increasing income today, let's talk about how. Maybe you do have a real estate license. Maybe you got your license through us and you're ready to do more business. We'll be talking about that on today's episode as well. But if you're new to real estate, or maybe you have another job and you've thought about real estate, maybe you're interested in increasing your income, but from your 9 to 5, your day-to-day, however much, whenever it is that you work job, and you're trying to figure out, how do I make more money beyond that? And there's so many different like little side hustle opportunities today, including real estate. Real estate could be a little bit of a side hustle where it's not your primary job, but it's what you're doing on the side to make extra money, to increase your income. That's what we're talking about today, increasing income. And if you're watching this in the future, maybe you're watching this 10 years down the road, maybe it's 2033. That's crazy to think that we'll soon someday be in the year 2033, just 10 years from now. And maybe you're watching that video. I would still, maybe things have changed. Maybe they've changed pretty dramatically over the next 10 years. But a lot of the same principles we're going to be talking about today are going to be timeless. So whether you're watching this today on January 4th of 2023, or watching this sometime in the future, here are a few things that you want to do to increase your income. Before we get into that, though, real quick, and this will increase your income too, so chalk this up on the list. Text the word success to 813-333-2676. That same phone number, you could reach out to our advisors with any questions that you have. If you want to find out about anything confidentially, or you just have more in-depth questions that you don't feel comfortable asking here live on the air, call in, speak to one of our advisors. We have instructors, brokers, sales associates, you name it, people with real estate licenses that can help you go through this same process. And again, if you want to get subscribed, text that word success to that same phone number, and we'll send you out updates whenever it is we go live for Ask the Instructor or State of Real Estate. And welcome in Debbie from Colorado. You know, I saw, I think it was something on Instagram the other day about some train going through some mountains in Colorado, and it was like one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. So But we've got some beautiful scenery here in Florida as well, I'll tell you that. People come from all over the world to purchase real estate here in Florida. As primary residences, a lot of people are moving here from throughout the rest of the country in addition to throughout the world. And this isn't a recent phenomenon. It's just recently increased in the amount of people wanting to come to Florida. Historically, basically since the invention of air conditioning, people have desired to live in Florida in some degree. But let's get back to tips to increasing your income, and we'll tie back into this whole attention that is Florida. So tips to increase income. You can look at these as steps. I don't want to lay this out in steps, so to say, right here, just in case we come up with a good idea as we're going through this. Maybe it's a little out of order, but we'll put it up here anyways. But number one thing I would say more than anything, if you want to be able to increase anything, you have to know what you're trying to increase. And you need to know the factors that result in that overall increase it is that you're looking for. So if we're talking about increasing income, you want to know how the income is made. And when I say this, I say inside and out. You're working at a small business. That small business isn't going to grow unless you could help that business generate income. And if you don't know how income is made at that business, you're not going to increase your income. You know, this isn't an episode today to say, oh, go vote, go protest in the streets. That's not going to increase your income. And even if it does, it's all relative. Look at what's happened since they've raised minimum wage here in Florida. Look at the price of groceries. Look at the price of gas. Look at all the prices of everything. So does it matter that they increase minimum wage? And the answer is no. It's just tipping the scales slightly. But everything eventually balances out. And so you cannot rely on others to increase your income. That is what I'm going to put up here second. Because if you rely upon others to increase your income, it's up to everyone else to increase your income. And let me ask you this. Is everybody else going to be concerned about increasing your income or their own income? Now, maybe you benefit as some sort of byproduct of that. But you can't count on that, especially in uncertain times like we're seeing right now. You cannot rely on others for safety, for security. You could maybe trust them, but you should not rely upon them. Because when you rely upon them, something happens with them that can affect your income. So you want to make sure you have income where you are in control. And here's the thing, if you don't know how the income is made, you will not be in control of the income. Because that's how most people get their first jobs. One of the first jobs I had, it wasn't the first, but one of the first jobs I had was working at McDonald's. And, you know, I had the basic idea of it that, okay, they sell French fries, they sell cheeseburgers, but the things that I learned in the 2 weeks I put in as a stint before I found a way better job than working at McDonald's. I learned that they keep track of every item, like down to the pickles. I remember seeing a thing on the wall, a paper that said pickles cost 5 cents each. You drop one on the floor, it's coming out of your paycheck or something ridiculous like that. I don't think it was that crazy, but it made me learn that there's a lot to understand inside and out. And here's the thing also, going back to this McDonald's story, I remember the people working at McDonald's that were taking this much more seriously than I did at the time. I just wanted to get a paycheck. I wanted to make some extra money. And they were hiring. Apparently it was pretty easy to get a job there. So I had that job. I was only there for about 2 weeks, but I learned a lot in that little 2-week time frame. And one of the things I learned about were just like the stories you'd hear about in books or TV or whatever, so it sounds so cliche, but it's true, of people that working from the bottom up because they one day want to own their own McDonald's. And they're going to know that business inside and out, because if they know that business inside and out and they know how the income is made at that business, they can help control the income. Because see, even if you're just the janitor at the McDonald's, if people aren't coming into the McDonald's because the floors are dirty, you're not controlling your income. So you could control your income to a certain degree by making sure those floors are spotless. But what if the guy on the French fries, that was me, and this is basically impossible, at least at the time. And for my 2 weeks there, I did fries, and they had this little thing, this device. It's crazy. It was, something like this, a salt shaker, and you turn it upside down once, a predetermined amount of salt will dispense, you flip it over, and wow, it's done. And that's to add control, because McDonald's as a corporation knows if the fries are too salty or not salty enough, that's going to affect their income. So on the French fries, they want the person in charge of the French fries making sure that they're in control of that. And then producing French fries is them doing their part to control their income. But here's the thing. There's so many moving pieces. I want to say there's maybe 20 people at any given time working at this McDonald's restaurant. So it was a madhouse. It was crazy. Maybe not at any time, maybe during busy times. I don't know. I was a kid in high school, so how much should I actually know about this here? But if you wanted to control your income, that wouldn't mean working at McDonald's. That would mean maybe someday owning McDonald's franchise. Now, most people are not willing, because it is a dirty business. Restaurants are a dirty business, and I knew a lot about restaurants before this. That's why I didn't stick around more than 2 weeks, because I grew up in a restaurant. My parents owned a restaurant, and I spent a lot of my childhood there. So it's a tough business. But if you know that business inside and out, you can make some pretty good money with that. But here's my next tip for you to be able to be in control of your income. And there's never been a better way of me understanding this here, then are you in the right role? Are you in the right vehicle? Are you positioned? Are you positioned appropriately? Are you in the right vehicle for your success? And when I say vehicle, I don't mean the car that you get in to go home. I mean the job that you have. Is that job going to take you where you want to go in your goals and aspirations? That was the thing for me. Many jobs later, I was working at a Fortune 500 company, 180,000 employees. I was in sales. I was one of the top salespeople in the company, getting in President's Club and all kinds of stuff like that multiple times over. And I was trying to learn that business inside and out. I was trying to understand that business inside and out. But here was the thing. This was a 180,000 person organization. It was huge. It doesn't matter how good I was. I could be the #1 salesperson, but if the other 179,000 people weren't carrying their weight, that's not going to look well for my income, because now my income is carrying the weight of all those other 180,000 people. So in that case, I wasn't positioned. In long term, I was like, oh, okay, I could go move up through the company and blah, blah, blah. But, you even get to the level of the CEO, and there's still those other 180,000 people it is that you have to count on to be able to do their part. And you see all the time about different CEOs. Look in right now, look in the news of all the CEOs getting fired, getting replaced, getting terminated. Because it's a tough job, especially when you have to rely upon others. And we're not in the best time right now for being able to rely upon others. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the tension is, the polarity that's out there. Maybe it's just everybody's out for their own. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. So you need to make sure that you are positioned for yourself, for your family, for your future generations, if you're trying to create generational wealth. It's one way to do that for every person that has generational wealth. Real estate is always part of that portfolio. It is never not part of that portfolio. Real estate is basically a requirement for creating generational wealth? So these are the hard questions you want to ask yourself. And I'm not trying to be hard on you. If you feel like I'm being intense, don't take it personal. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for your future. And this is where you need to be self-reflective and ask yourself the hard questions. And, you know, sometimes you've got to look at yourself and say, look, I haven't made the best decisions for what I actually truly want. Maybe you've been misled. That was part of it. You know, when I took that job, I was with that company for 5 years, and actually at first I wasn't even really thinking about it long term, but as I worked there and I learned more about the organization, I got to understand how the income was made. I got to enjoy it. I got to like it, but then it eventually again got to a point where, because it's just such a large organization, it required me to rely upon others. And therefore I was not in control of my income. So I was not positioned for the future it is that I wanted for myself, for my family, for my future. I wasn't in the right vehicle for my success. I was driving a golf cart, basically. I was never going to get to where I was going driving a golf cart. You know, golf carts are cool. You get all kinds of little accessories. You can pimp out your golf cart. But it's not going to go that fast. It's not going to go that far. So you need to put yourself in a vehicle. Maybe not even a car, maybe a jet. How do you go from driving speed to flying speed? And I don't mean, you know, literally, I mean in your career, in your future. How do you accelerate? And well, the difference is you can't go as fast as a jet if you don't have a jet. And you have to position yourself to be able to take advantage of these other ways to make money that can be much more effective than what you're currently doing. And this is a hard thing for most people to do, to basically at some degree, and don't call it this, but this is what it seems like. It's almost like you're admitting that what you're in right now isn't the best fit and that you might have made some bad decisions putting yourself into this position. But it's only bad if you don't make the necessary corrections. And it doesn't matter what point at life you may be in. You know, part of the issue for me of advancement earlier on was I was young. And that was something that held me back. But with real estate, being young doesn't have to hold you back. Being old doesn't have to hold you back. It doesn't matter what age it is that you are. It matters, can you do real estate? Can you get the license? Can you sell? Can you, and it's so simple, but if you've never done this before, you're not quite sure how income is made. And that's what I want to kind of transition into next. And if you've already got a real estate license, this is where this is definitely going to benefit you to stick around for the rest of this information here. Because now the question is, let's say you go get your real estate license. How do you fully understand how income is made in real estate inside and out? And how do you build a business that does not rely upon others, where you're in control of your income, where you're positioned to build your future? And being in the right vehicle, you might be, you might have a real estate license, which does give you this unlimited income potential, but are you appropriately positioned? Meaning, are you with a brokerage that aligns with your future? Are you taking action that's ultimately going to result in the goals that you're setting out for yourself? And do you have the resources? Do you have the knowledge? That's really the main thing with real estate that holds people back, is just not knowing how. You know, a lot of people, they could say, well, I don't have money to go invest in real estate. Look, I hear you. You might not have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 laying around to go buy an investment property. And yeah, there's books out there about borrowing money and other people's money and so on and so forth, but it's typically going to involve some money on your part in most cases. Otherwise, you're making it extremely difficult on yourself, especially if you're new and you're not well connected and you don't know what you're doing. So the knowledge is going to be the key. Oh, that's awesome, Marco. Got a friend buying condo in Tampa. Told wait till I get my license. Yes, and that's the thing. Everybody needs a place to live. So chances are you already know somebody. You already probably have a close relationship to some degree with somebody who could use your services, if not now, in the very near future. Because on average, everybody buys and sells every 5 to 7 years. And look, even if this is something you're doing part-time, Because maybe you love what you do during the day. Maybe you're a teacher, first responder, firefighter, whatever it may be. And you're not sure if you could do this along with that. You don't have to do real estate full time. If you want to make millions of dollars, yeah, probably full time, at least to start out until you get a team built out or you build up a brokerage or something larger than yourself. But if you want to do this part-time on the side, maybe just even earning referral income from recommending people to agents who are actually going to close the deals and now earning 25% of the commission just for making the recommendation. If you have an active real estate license, that is definitely possible. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. My name is Jon Carissimo. You're watching Ask the Instructor.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is Jon Carissimo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We are live right now. I've got the chat loaded up. Welcome into everyone tuning in here with us live, and also to everyone on the replay. Hello to you as well. We will have the replay available for this on our website on tampaschoolofrealestate.com. And again, if you want to make sure you don't miss out on any of this information, or if you want us to send you a link of any past episode, or you have questions about obtaining your license or starting a real estate career, this phone number right here, 813-333-2676. Any questions you have, reach out to us at this phone number. You could call us or text us and reach out to licensed advisors who are able to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that they can. So, and a big shout out to the team at the Tampa School of Real Estate. You guys do a great job helping our students. And if you guys want the receipts, the public, if you want to see whether or not we do a good job, check our Google reviews, check on Facebook, go talk to some of our alumni from Tampa School of Real Estate. We're really proud of what it is that we do here and what it is that we're able to help people accomplish in their lives. It was just back in 2007, we were a very small school in the back of a real estate brokerage office with like 2 or 3 students in our first class. And, now we've had over 35,000 students from 40 countries around the world, and we're continuing to expand and grow that every single day. We actually have an app coming out soon. I don't know if anybody's heard about that. If you're subscribed to our emails and whatnot, you've probably got a message about it. But yeah, we actually have a TSRE app coming for any of our Learn Portal courses. So that includes our exam prep courses, that includes all of our video-based on-demand courses, our live stream, our classroom courses, all your digital materials, flashcards. We actually have an app that will actually allow you to offline access these materials, so you can actually save them for offline if you're going on a plane or whatever the reason may be. I feel like the phones, they don't work as good as they used to when it comes to the internet. Maybe we're just used to things being faster, but I feel like I like it when things are just loaded on there and ready to go, and I don't have to wait and worry about whether I've got a good internet connection. So if that's you, you'll love our new app that we've got coming out. If you got one of the non-Learn Portal courses, reach out to us, 813-333-2676, and we can go over what options you have to get transferred over into a course that'll allow you to use that app. So we have that coming very shortly, so that definitely should be cool. Definitely make it a lot easier to get into the information, and we're also constantly expanding our catalog. We now actually even have a continuing education course that we're offering. It's a live course taught by an industry leader when it comes to mortgages. It's Robert Paredes of Flux Funding, and he's taught not just this course with Tampa School of Real Estate, but he's taught this in seminars across the entire entire state. It's only a 3-hour class, so it's relatively short. It does give you 3 hours of CE credit in case you need that. But just coming for the information alone is so worth it because it covers everything that you need to know about financing. And so let's go back over to the board right here, because one of the things that I talked about for increasing your income is know how the income is made. Now, maybe some of you don't have a real estate license yet, but even if you don't, you probably know what do most people need in order to be able to afford a home. Do they just buy it cash, or what do they typically use when they're buying a property? If somebody wants to buy a home, maybe they're a first-time home buyer, and even investors. Yes, there are investors that pay cash, but a lot of investors will use these as well. This is a term also that could be on your real estate exam in case you're studying for that. There's actually 2 chapters related to this topic, but what you're learning in your pre-licensing course about the funding, about the finance, the financing, the mortgages, it's a lot of laws and rules. And so that's why we're really excited to offer this program now at Tampa School of Real Estate, this Mortgage 101 continuing education course, because this is taught by an actual mortgage broker. And a mortgage broker, compared to a loan originator, is somebody that works with multiple companies simultaneously to ultimately get your clients the best rates and also give them the most options. When it's different types of financing programs, different type of loan programs, different types of income that need to be validated in different ways, there's not always one-size-fits-all lenders, and that's why a mortgage broker is such a valuable resource to have. And so that's why we started putting out these courses, and we're actually building out a whole catalog that you'll be able to access these through the app as well. But in addition to logging in on the website isn't going away. We're just adding the app to give you guys another way to get into this. But again, getting back to how income is made. If you want to make a commission in real estate, unless you have a cash buyer, you need financing. Financing is key. Without financing, most people cannot purchase real estate. Without financing, there'd be a significantly lower demand, significantly. Talking about going from like all the real estate that goes on today to less than 5% of that real estate actually happening. Because the demand would drop significantly if people were not able to purchase these. So the financing is essential. And I don't know if we've got anybody on here today that is an actual practicing agent that's had a deal fall through due to financing. And it's something that's very common just because, you know, there's so many moving parts when it comes to a mortgage, when it comes to approval of, you know, somebody maybe going to go buy a car before they close on their house, or opening up new credit cards, or other things like that that could, you know, it just shifts everything around where they've got to recalculate numbers and so on and so forth. So it could be something simple like that, and most realtors know, well, you can't go buy a car before you buy a house. That's going to mess things up. The average consumer should know that, which is why it's such a joke when somebody goes to do that, because there's probably the car salesperson telling them, oh, that won't mess up your credit. You'll still be able to get your house. Does the salesperson care you don't get the house? No. But that's how people are misled. And that's how people end up in bad situations where they're not positioned to be the best version of themselves, where they're not in the right vehicle to achieve what ultimate success they have potential for. And if you don't have that, you will not be able to control your income. And if you can't control your income, you cannot increase your income. You know, let's say you're paid some sort of commission. In real estate you are. Maybe you're in a commission-based job. If you get paid a commission and that commission's not capped, you have control of your income, where you don't have to rely upon others to be able to increase your income. You just make more phone calls, you get in contact with more people, you send more write-ups, more invoices, more whatever it is that you use to get the deal done. You know, that goes back to knowing how income is made. You have to ask yourself, what is it that I need? In a real estate business, if you're calling people, you're going to call some people, try to reach out to them, try to do some business. What's the ultimate goal? Do you want to try to sell them a house over the phone? No. You want to try to get an appointment, to talk to them more, to find out more, to qualify them more, to understand them more. Because if you want to know how to get commission, you have to know how the income is made for that deal, which is going to include knowing your client, knowing the right property for them, and helping make that connection. And here's the thing. Your client won't always know it's the right property, and so that's where you come in to help reassure them that they're making the right decision, that this is checking the boxes it is that they're looking for. And if it's not, you're not there to try to pressure them into something that doesn't fit for them. You go help them find something that does. But these are all things it is that you're learning in your training to become a real estate professional. But this pre-licensing course you take to get your license, that's where you start. So if you don't yet have your license, you need to take a pre-licensing course. Then you go pass your state exam. There's application and fingerprinting, a couple other things you do along with that. But this course and this exam focuses a lot on laws and rules. After you get your license, you then have to take a post-licensing course. Now, this course is required for your renewal, but the thing is, your renewal isn't for like 18 months out. And most people wait until the last minute to do this course. But here's the thing, you need this course. Not just need it for your license, you need it for the knowledge of how income is made in real estate. Because you will learn laws and rules, but you're not going to as specifically learn how income is made. That's where post-licensing comes in. We now have that post-licensing course also in a video-based on-demand format. That'll be available in the app. You can access it right now on the website and on your mobile phone in a web browser, but that'll have the offline access available to it as well, so that's pretty cool. You get a textbook with that. Same thing with our pre-licensing course. We actually have a bundle package that includes all of this. And the reason why we include the bundle packages is because you don't need all the other stuff yet, but you will need post-licensing. And we want to incentivize you for getting pre-registered and pre-enrolled for post-licensing because we know that's going to make you more successful. And that's good for us when you're successful. Why is it good for us? Right here. That's who looks good when you're successful. We don't take all the spotlight. That goes to you. But when someone says, well, hey, I want to get into real estate, where should I go? You're like, oh, well, you got to go to this place right here. You got to go to Tampa School of Real Estate. You got to make sure you sign up for the post-licensing because that's where you're going to really learn what you want to learn about actually making money with real estate. But the learning doesn't stop there, and that's why I'm talking about like the Mortgage 101 course. The Mortgage 101 course taught by Robert Paredes of Flux Funding, that's on January 25th. It's only 3 hours. You could attend in person here in New Tampa, or you could jump on a live stream for that. Either way, you could get 3 hours of CE credit if you need the CE credit. But even if you don't need the CE credit, I would highly encourage you to come down and take that course. Because if you're in real estate, or even if you're not in real estate, if you just want to learn more about the financing side of real estate so you can grow your wealth through real estate, you need to know how mortgages work. And you don't need to go become a mortgage broker. You don't need to go take the licensing course for mortgages. I've known people that have done that, but I mean, that's a little overkill at that point. And honestly, at that point, it kind of can become a distraction. You know, if you're able to earn some sort of referral fee or something, yeah, get both licenses, of course. But in a lot of cases, it doesn't always benefit you. And if it does, then great, do it. But if you don't know anything about mortgages, so you don't need to go get a whole nother license to make an extra couple $100 for making a referral. You can just make sure you're following all the guidelines so you can do that all legally, and then why not? I shouldn't be up here saying you can't, because you absolutely can. There's agents that do. But what I would say would be to focus on being as great as you can be, because you can have lenders, title companies, all these other vendors who are able to be on your team and help support and grow your business. Because you help send them business, they'll help send you business. That's usually the way this works. The whole kind of karma thing, you put good out into the world, that comes back to you. But when you specifically help a certain day, you're constantly sending this lender leads. Who are they going to send them to when they've got a real estate lead that they need to send to a realtor? Most people are either a realtor or a mortgage broker. Most people don't have both licenses. Again, there might be a small little referral fee or something like that. It is you could earn in certain cases. But there's also so many guidelines. There's additional licensing to keep up. Whereas a real estate license, there actually have been a lot more people I've seen that are mortgage. We've had a lot of mortgage people in our classes, and they take these classes. Every mortgage broker I've talked to has said and maybe they do have some personal interest in this as well of why they'd want a real estate license, but they always say, I wanted to better understand the realtors. I wanted to better understand what the realtors know and how to help them. So if you want to better understand how the financing is done, so that way you could get your deals done, because if there's no financing, you're not getting paid. You don't get a commission if there's no financing. So yeah, it's a little bit of going the extra mile to learn this extra information, but this extra knowledge and information is what's going to set you apart from the average real estate agent who wouldn't be able to get the deal done. The bar is not very high. The course to get your real estate license, it's only a 2-week course. Yeah, and the exam is 100 questions, and it's got a 50% pass rate, which isn't the best pass rate. That's statewide. It's a 50% pass rate for the state exam. I would tell you what our students get, but the state keeps that all confidential. I can assure you it's definitely higher than the 50%, especially judging by how well our students score on their end of course exams. And typically our students are in a position where they're not being surprised by things. Because that's what we want to do. We want to prepare you, because that's what you want to do for your clients in the real world as a real estate professional. You need to make sure that they're not surprised by things. You know, you're doing an inspection. That's maybe part of your process as a real estate professional. You're doing an inspection, and you told the client there wouldn't be anything wrong with this property, and they decide to pay for an inspection because they're not quite sure if you're right, that there won't be anything wrong. And you're assuring them, oh, there's nothing that's going to be wrong, and if there is, we could back out of the deal. Excuse me. So let's say you tell the client that. You assure them there won't be anything wrong. And then they decide to get an inspection anyways. And then the inspector finds a few things wrong. And now maybe these aren't major things that wouldn't normally blow up the deal, but because of how you prepared your client for that information, what do you think they're going to say when there's an inspection report that does have issues in it, when you assure them there wouldn't be any issues? Now, you're not necessarily in any kind of trouble unless you knew about problems that you're actively trying to hide. That could definitely be some problems. You'll learn about that in your pre-licensing. We cover all those laws and rules to make sure you're doing things legally. But ultimately, it makes you look really bad, and it's going to make your clients not trust you. They're going to back out of the deal, and now they're not sure to trust anything it is that you say because you lied to them about that property being perfect. And you might say, well, I didn't know there was anything wrong. All properties have something wrong with them. It's just a question of what. Now, which one of those statements is going to better assure your client, hey, look, we definitely want to do an inspection to make sure there's not any major problems, but chances are they are going to find some things, because I've never found any properties that are perfect, even if they're brand new. New construction homes very often will have a lot of issues found on an inspection. So we'll definitely want to get that inspected, see if there's any problems we could have the seller fix, or maybe we're renegotiating the price, or if there is something major and we can't get to an agreement about the price or getting it repaired. I mean, worst case scenario, we could pull out of the contract. Which one of those sounds better to a client and is going to go over more well when you get an inspection? All of that I just said, or, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the property, it's all going to be fine. You look like an idiot saying everything's all right and it's all going to be fine, because every property has something wrong with it. And you're going to learn these little nuances of real estate. Not all of them, not everything there is to know. You're constantly going to be learning things. I learn things new every day. I've been with the Tampa School of Real Estate since 2007, and I still learn new things every single day. But I love learning that new information because I want to know this business inside and out. I want to know how income is made, not just for myself, but for all the people that come to Tampa School of Real Estate, to all the people that watch these videos online. I want to take as much information as I can to know how income is made. So that way, not only I can be positioned, but that way I could share this knowledge on these live streams with you, so you can also be positioned and you could be in the right vehicle for success. Yeah, and definitely, Debbie, having a couple good lenders, that is important. And having multiple different kinds. So look, if you don't know anybody, you definitely need to come to this mortgage training, so at least you can know Robert. Because you attend in person, what I would recommend, because it's a great networking opportunity. Get in there, shake his hand, get in front of his face. But Even if you're just able to join in on the live stream, Robert will share his contact info, so that way you have that information. You've got another lender. He's super knowledgeable, super on top of it. Over the new year, he was like in Paris, but one of our agents, one of my brokerages, was working on a deal, and he's literally on New Year's Eve, like emailing back and forth, getting deals done. So he's definitely on top of that. And you want to have a few people that are like that. You want everyone on your team, every vendor you recommend, lender, title company, home inspector, you want them to be go-getters. You want to be people that are hungry for business, that love serving their customers, because those customers are your customers, and these recommendations it is that you make ultimately reflect upon you. And that's also why you do want to recommend a couple, because as great as your vendors may be, as great of a track record as they may have, nobody is perfect. Just like there's no perfect house, there's no perfect person. And so that helps you save a little bit of face when you have other alternatives. If you put all your faith in one contact, just like you put all your faith in there being no problems with the property, either one is going to make you look bad. Make you look like you got egg on your face, as they like to say. If you haven't heard that expression before, egg on your face, it means like you look like you just ate something, you got some egg on your face, and you don't even know it's there. That's kind of awkward. You don't want your clients to look at you like that, because who's going to trust that person? So yeah, definitely recommending a few people is good. And you want to have a network, because there might be certain contacts you recommend in certain situations compared to others. You know, one thing I can assure you, Robert's definitely one of the people in my network, and I recommend to the agents at my brokerages. And he is one of the best contacts that I know of out of the lenders that I know, especially if you have self-employed income, anything that's not standard W-2 income, because a lot of the more traditional lenders will have a lot of a hard time making loans if you don't have very specific income documents and tax documents, which misleads a lot of the public into thinking they cannot achieve home ownership. There's a lot of misinformation that's out there, and that's what you're there to work against. But if you don't have knowledge to counter that misinformation, you're not going to end up with any business, because no one's going to see any reason to trust you. When you start delivering knowledge that helps people really understand what's really going on, or how the business really works, or how they could actually achieve the goals it is that they're after, that now brings them to see, wow, you are an expert, you are a professional. Not only should I use you, but I should recommend you to everybody that I know. Because you want to build like super fans out of your clients. So that way, the moment anybody even mentions real estate, they're like, oh, you got to call John. You got to call Bob. You call Rocco. Call Debbie. Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for the feedback on that. And look, we're going to be back here on this Friday. Friday, 12 noon, we'll be live. Same time, same place. And what we cover on Friday is we call State of Real Estate, which is about growing your business. Cover a little bit more of the technical side today. So this Friday, we're going to be covering business planning and actually doing calculations based on commission. So say you get this much money in commission, what does that break down to in your pocket with a commission split? Well, if you sell this price of house, what does that break down to in terms of gross commission, which then gets split with your broker to the commission that's in your pocket? Because when you start to understand those numbers, that's you understanding how income is made. And that's probably one of the most important things you could do if you're looking to increase your income. Because if you don't know how the income is made down like to the very core of it, you won't be able to increase it. So make sure you're tuned in on this Friday. Again, text the word success to 813-333-2676, and we'll send you out notifications whenever it is that we go live. So that way we can dive deeper into building out the future that is ideal for you. Whatever level of income it is that you want to earn, you'll be able to better understand how to do that through real estate by understanding what your commission is on average and then how many houses you have to sell in order to achieve that. So hope to see you this Friday for State of Real Estate. Until then, you have a great day, and I'll see you Friday, 12 noon. Or I'm going to see you right now because the computer froze up on us. You guys
Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing.